The Toronto Transit Commission, TTC, is the main public transportation system in Toronto, Canada. However, in recent years, the TTC has faced a number of safety concerns, including overcrowding, delays, and incidents of violence. These issues have raised concerns about the overall safety and security of the system. Some of the factors that have contributed to these issues include underfunding, insufficient maintenance of equipment, and a lack of security measures. To address these problems, the TTC has implemented a number of initiatives, such as increasing the number of transit enforcement officers and installing security cameras on buses and trains. They also increased service on high-demand routes and opened the new subway lines to ease crowding. However, it is important to note that the safety of the public transportation system is a complex issue, and it's not only the responsibility of the TTC but also of the riders and the government. The riders should be responsible for their own safety and security by following the rules, being aware of their surroundings, and reporting any suspicious activity. The government should provide adequate funding for the transit system and work with the TTC to ensure that the system is operating efficiently and effectively. In summary, a multifaceted approach is needed to improve the safety of the TTC, including better funding, better maintenance, and improved communication with the riders, as well as the riders and government being more proactively involved in ensuring safety and security. As for mental health issues, it's a complex and multifaceted problem. It can be caused by a variety of factors such as trauma, poverty, lack of social support, substance abuse, and genetic predisposition. To fight mental health issues, a combination of different approaches is needed, such as: Number 1, providing access to mental health services. This includes counseling, therapy, and support groups, as well as medication if needed. Number 2, promoting mental health education. This includes educating people about the signs and symptoms of mental health conditions and how to access help. Number 3, addressing social determinants of mental health. This includes addressing poverty, unemployment, and lack of access to education and housing. It's important to note that mental health issues are not something that can be fixed overnight. It's a continuous process that requires a long-term approach and a collaborative effort from different sectors of society, including the government, community organizations, healthcare providers, and individuals themselves. Measures that needs to be taken. To address these problems, the TTC has implemented a number of initiatives, such as increasing the number of transit enforcement officers, installing security cameras on buses and trains, and working to improve communication with passengers to provide real-time information about delays and disruptions. Things the public should do. From author's perspective, we all should stand up for what's right and wrong. If we don't speak up and intervene, or report such activities to the police, then things will never get better, because police is not going to be there all the time, and it's not even possible. We're larger at number than the police. Now, if we ignore this kind of activities as it's not our problem, then these kind of criminals will gain more and more encouraged, and this should not happen. Once you stand up for what's right, you'll see 10 more people behind you to support you, and this should be the way.
Station in the city, so there were lots of people down at track level around 6:15 last night when a verbal argument between two men became physical. This rider heard the yelling but walked away, not wanting to get involved.
Can be a little bit dangerous with mental illness, drug abuse problems, so you never know what they have on them.
One man allegedly pushed the other onto the subway tracks. TTC special constables were on scene quickly and arrested one man, now charged with assault, and assisted the other man who was not seriously injured. The violence, though, is weighing on the minds of riders like Amy.
It's a safety concern, and it makes me worry about if there's any more in the future.
This is just the latest in a number of assaults and random attacks on TTC properties in recent months. At Bloor Yonge Station, Carl Hansky, City News.
Now think about this. What if this happens to you or someone you know and no one comes to help? How would you feel then? Protect the ones you know or you don't know, because this is about humanity. As we all know, sharing is caring and caring is happiness. My opinion is not to mean that you take matters on your own hand, but to scare them off, but to let them know that we are all together. If there's no unity, then there is no strength in the community.
First was around 10 o'clock last night. A man was punching another male passenger unprovoked at Kennedy subway station. An hour later, it's believed the same man went after a female passenger, shaking her and threatening to kill her before he stole her headphones. Constable Victor Kwong tells me they've had dealings with this suspect in the past.
It is someone that we definitely want anyone who sees him to give us a call so that we can further this investigation, arrest him, and stop any future random attacks that he might commit.
Now, he's been identified as 25-year-old Brendan Sevilla Zelaya of Toronto. He's 5'7" with a neck tattoo. His photo can be seen at toronto.citynews.ca. Police are trying to figure out if he may have been involved in any other attacks. Charlene Close, City News.
We all have learned a very good lesson from a very favorite movie of mine called The Spider-Man. Released in 2002, follows the story of Peter Parker, a high school student who is bitten by a genetically altered spider and gains superhuman abilities. At the beginning of the movie, Peter Parker has an opportunity to stop a criminal known as the Snatcher but chooses not to intervene, thinking it's not his responsibility. Later, Peter's Uncle Ben is murdered by the Snatcher and Peter realizes that with great power comes great responsibility. This realization is the driving force behind Peter's decision to become Spider-Man and use his powers to fight crime and protect the innocent. As Spider-Man, Peter battles the Green Goblin, a powerful businessman who seeks to control the city with his high-tech weapons and becomes the enemy of Spider-Man. The movie ends with Peter Parker winning the battle and avenging the death of Uncle Ben and learning to live the consequences of his actions. Our great power is our strong voice and our cautiousness. We all have brains to separate the bad from the good, and that is what makes us the best animal in the planet. So next time when you see bad things happening, don't ignore, don't run away, rather speak up. Try to gather more people if that's necessary and then chase the assaulter to the police station. At least this much we all can do. So that the very next day one of our own don't get hurt on their way home. I might be going against one of the great Gandhi's quote that says, "Don't see evil, don't hear evil, don't speak evil," suggests that if one avoids engaging with negative or harmful elements of the world, they will not be affected by them. However, this approach may not be effective when it comes to addressing issues such as recent violations of safety on the Toronto Transit Commission, TTC. By not seeing, hearing or speaking about the issue of safety on the TTC, one may be turning a blind eye to a real problem that needs to be addressed. Ignoring the problem will not make it go away, and it might even get worse. Instead, it is important to actively engage with the issue and to speak out against any violations of safety that are observed. This can include reporting incidents to the appropriate authorities, advocating for improved safety measures, and raising awareness about the issue. Additionally, it is important to recognize that the issue of safety on the TTC is not just about avoiding negative or harmful elements, but about actively promoting a culture of safety and respect for all passengers. This includes addressing the root causes of violence and harassment, such as poverty, mental health issues, and discrimination. This approach not only addresses the problem but also provides a long-term solution. In summary, while the quote, "Don't see evil, don't hear evil, don't speak evil," may be well-intentioned, it is not a practical or effective approach when it comes to addressing the issue of safety on the Toronto Transit Commission or in any other area of life where there is a violation of rights and safety. "An eye for an eye will only make the whole world blind," is also a quote often attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, who was a political and spiritual leader in India during the 20th century. The quote is a warning against the idea of retaliation or seeking revenge, and suggests that if everyone takes an eye for an eye, the end result will be a world where everyone is blind, or in other words, a world full of suffering and injustice.
Back on a TTC operator. That's how the union representing transit workers describes an alleged assault and robbery this morning at the Long Branch Loop. It has ATU Local 113 calling on the city and TTC to do more to protect its members from harm before further tragedy strikes. It's the second assault reported against a transit worker in less than a week. Last Thursday, the union reported a serious act of violence against a TTC worker and again called on the city and TTC to do more. The incidents have TTC users we spoke to concerned.
Kind of in shock that this would happen, and that there's not proper security measures in place or the proper call for help in these situations.
The workers should be asking their union for more protection, absolutely. like especially when it's late at night. They're down at the loop here. It's a busy place.
ATU Local 113 says its highest priority is consistent and proper enforcement so that anyone who commits an act of violence, discrimination, or harassment at the TTC is caught and is dealt with by the justice system. In response, the TTC says in part, attacks on TTC employees are absolutely unacceptable. It's why the TTC advocated for and supported changes to the criminal code in 2015 that protect transit workers.
The quote implies that the cycle of retaliation and revenge is self-perpetuating and ultimately leads to a worse outcome for everyone. Instead, the quote encourages forgiveness, compassion, and understanding as a means of resolving conflicts and promoting peace. The quote suggests that if we adopt the approach of taking an eye for an eye, we will only create a world that is violent, unjust, and blind. In conclusion, ensuring the safety and security of public transportation is a complex issue that requires a collaborative effort from different sectors of society. The TTC, the riders, and the government all have a role to play in ensuring that the public transportation system is safe and secure for everyone. By implementing effective measures and working together, we can improve the safety and security of the TTC and provide a better experience for all riders. Thank you for watching, and if you have liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe our channel for more content like this.